Don't underestimate editing. It can bring all your shots together in something truly memorable and moving. And it can also make your footage completely forgettable and not engaging at all. There are so many different parts to editing, so let's start with the basics and move through it.
Okay, guys, let's get our edit on. So we're going to use DaVinci Resolve. A lot of the techniques and the way that we do things are going to be the same across a lot of platforms, including Premiere Pro CC, which I use quite a lot. The reason why I'm using DaVinci Resolve is because there is a free version. It's very easy to use, and we've got some really good color grading tools in here. Now, one of the most important things about not just editing but shooting video is making sure that you have very good organization. So I've already done this. I have our BMPC 4K folder, which holds all the Blackmagic footage that I recorded when we were in the woods, and that's all here. I have went through each one. I have had a look at it by opening it up, playing it, and I've decided on what clips I'm going to use. Now we can just take these, start scrubbing through them and see what we want to put in our final video, but I did this so that I can name them, such as this, to make it easier in the editing process, and whenever we take them in, all these names will stay. So that will be very handy. We've got rid of all our extra clips that we don't need or that I've decided that aren't good enough. And then we have our drone clips. Now these are the little extra ones. I know we haven't done anything about drones in the course, and I will possibly make another course if anyone wants to know more about drones, but I just thought it would be nice to have a couple of drone clips in here as we were in the forest, and it was a good opportunity to take it out. These aren't really necessary for the video, and the one or two clips that I put in won't be really of any value, and I'll tell you what we can swap out for them. Now we have some royalty-free music. Royalty-free music is very important if we want to stick this on YouTube or anything like that. We want to make sure that there's no rights attached to it. I use motionarray.com to get all my royalty-free music, and there are loads of services available where you can sign up for either a monthly fee or you can pay to license them as individual tracks. I've already found two. I typed in forest and I came up with these two. So I like this one because it's got some birds chirping and stuff at the start, and this is just kind of background music that we can cut along to, so that'll be good. So if I take all of these, you'll notice in DaVinci we have no clips in our media pool. This is our normal edit window, and if I just drag these in, and it asks if, and it says the clips have a different frame rate than the current project settings because we haven't set up any project settings. What I've done is just clicked on a new project, so it asks us if we want to change our timeline, which is what we'll be editing on, to match our videos, which we do want to do because we want to keep them at the same frame rate, which is 25 frames per second. So now here are all our clips in our media pool. So we can scrub through them like this, so we can see the clips and get a better idea of where they're all going to fit. And then we're going to decide on the first clip to put in, and we're just going to drop it right here on our timeline. So the first thing that I want to do, I think, is the van exit. This is where Dave, the cameraman, as I said that I was going to film, this is where Dave comes out of my van, but we're going to pretend it's his van. If we double click on it, that comes up in the source window. This is the source window where our clips that we can browse through here will come up, and this will be our main edit window, which is where we will see our footage as it comes together and as we start cutting it together. Now, I know this might look a little daunting for some people, especially if you've never edited a video before, but it's really, really simple. And I'm just going to go through bits and pieces. Instead of pointing it all out and telling you what everything is, I'm just going to go through it as we go so you can see what we need. So we're going to drop this right into here. And this will be our first clip. So let's play that back. And that's Dave getting out of the van and closing the door. Okay, so we don't need all of that. We just need it kind of whenever he's starting to come out of the van. We'll clip it to there. If we just hover over, you see the clip. And the same on this side. We can move it backwards and forwards. And where you see these white lines come up is how big the clip can be. In other words, that is the size of the original clip, the white lines. So we've got him coming out of the van now. And closing the door. And he walks past the camera. So the camera starts to get a little bit shaky there just as he walks past me. So I'm going to just clip this in. Actually, the first thing I will tell you is this is the magnification of our timeline. So we can zoom in or we can zoom out to see more clips or to get closer and tighter editing. So I'm going to go to about here just as he walks past, and I'm going to make it shorter. Okay, now I think we need kind of some establishing shots of the forest. Establishing shots are the first shots that really give a sense of the location. And it's good to drop these off somewhere near the start, somewhere like a wide shot or something like that. So we could have one of our drone shots to give a good idea of the location, or we could have quite a number of the wider forest shots of Dave walking, etc. I am going to choose one of these overhead shots. And maybe not this one. Maybe we'll have a look. This one. Okay, so I like the pan up that gives us. We've kind of got this nice smooth panning motion as we look up, and then we get the horizon and it levels out. I think that's really nice for an establishing shot. That shows where we are. It's kind of a good place to be. Shows that we're not in Jurassic Park. There's no dinosaurs here. So what we're going to do is, now that we can select where we want to cut in, we press I on the keyboard, and that marks our in point. So we have the in point now, and we're going to just go straight to where we want to end the clip. Okay, and then we're going to press O for our out point. Now, so this is our in point and our out point, which means that it's only this part of the clip that we're going to be working with if we drag it onto the timeline now. Now, if we drag this onto the timeline like that, that comes straight from our in point here, which is where it started. So we have Dave walking, and then we have our establishing shot, which looks great, doesn't it? Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do is start looking at the music. The reason for this is because we don't want to start making some crazy shots and then realize that it doesn't really go with our music, and we want to make sure that we kind of start cutting as soon as possible to the music. So it's quite important to select your music first of all and think about what kind of atmosphere we want to create, really. So I did say that I've got the Forest Ambient, which is just a little short track. Okay, so that's some nice background music, and then we've got the Fantasy Forest loop. which I think sounds fantastic, but it doesn't really give us much to work with in terms of the whole edit. So I think we should drag this into our timeline here, and this could be our entrance track. Dave entering the forest, and then our establishing shot. Okay, that looks good. And what I'm going to do is cut this music about here, and then we're going to go straight in with the ambient. So how does that go? Okay, so that's what we call a hard cut. So we're going to have something, we're going to have completely change in the middle of these two cuts of audio. We're also going to change the video. And I think we should do a wide shot of Dave walking, and we can say this is him starting to walk into the forest. Okay, so we'll take about here and maybe take in here just as it's out of focus, and then he comes into focus. That kind of looks nice. We're going to press I for in point. And we've also shot this in slow motion, so that looks quite nice. And then we'll press O for our out point. Now, once we hover over it, we have two different options. We have the audio and we have the video. The reason why we didn't get this on the drone shot is because the drone doesn't shoot any audio. So we could only drag the video over. But we don't want any audio of our shots in. So we're just going to take the video clip and we're going to drag it into here. And that will look like this. And that's the start of Dave's adventure. Okay, so quite a popular technique is to cut to the beat. So we're going to do that on some beats, but I don't like cutting straight on the beat all the time because it just gets a bit samey and it gets a bit predictable. I like to cut around the beat a little bit, but on this one beat, we're going to cut straight on it to the next one. So it's about here. Maybe we'll cut on that change. Just right there. Okay. So we'll take this back and we'll think about what the next clip's going to be. And we have some close-ups and we have a close-up of a butterfly. And maybe that would set the scene a little bit. We have some forest view. And we have a side view of the forest. So maybe we could have a little bit of forest view. Just like this. Put the in point and set the out point. We'll drag this in and then we'll take the butterfly. How does the butterfly look?